Good afternoon, everyone. This is Gia. This is my Spirit Animal Oracle card series. And today is March 29th, 2026. We spent some time with Starfish and Squirrel Spirit, and there was an initial um, impression and tension coming through from them that they wanted to move into a new spirit animal yesterday, but I was guided to give it a little bit longer, so they wanted to linger with us a little bit longer. And I am inspired. I do have the impression that we are ready for a new spirit animal. So I will share a couple of my reflections with Starfish and Squirrel Spirit in a few moments, but we have another spirit animal oracle coming through today. Again, this is Sunday, March 29th, 2026. So Turkey Spirit is making another appearance with us. Turkey Spirit is encouraging and asking, reminding us to give with gratitude and grace. So I didn't re-listen to the recording from the last time Turkey Spirit came through, but what I do remember is some of the underlying messages were really related to giving with gratitude and grace, not only to others but also to ourselves. And this presentation from Turkey Spirit is encouraging us to move into another aspect of that. Another aspect of that relative to putting ourselves in the shoes of the recipient. So if we have an intention, if we have an inspired way that we want to be of service or that we want to give to another person or a community, to put ourselves in that space and place in the shoes of that recipient and examine, take a look at how the energy of our intention is coming across. What does that look like from the recipient's perspective? And also, what are the seeds of our intention? What is our inspired reason for wanting to be of service and wanting to give in whatever way we are giving to this individual or this community? And just notice without judgment what we notice and then adjust accordingly. So perhaps we might, let's be honest in our reflections, again, without judgment, and perhaps we might notice that um, the inspired reason for giving is because we want that person or that community to have something that we didn't have, or to have something that they literally may need, or perhaps we feel really good. We want to feel good about ourselves, about what we can give, and what we have an opportunity to give. Perhaps it's because we might have that notion that we're going to get something in return, something material, or even just a thanks or gratitude coming back to us, and we want to have that reciprocated experience. It could be any number of nuanced things like that. And then Turkey Spirit wants us also to then, as we've done that exercise, as we've put ourselves in the recipient's shoes, and we've taken a look at objectively as we can, without judgment, what is the energy of our intention looking like? How is the energy of our intention coming across? What are the seeds of our intention? As we've done that, now go to a different aspect of that and put ourselves in the shoes of the recipient as the one that's receiving. So we are giving to ourselves. So as we give to ourselves, as we give with gratitude and grace to ourselves, what are the seeds of that inspired gift, of that state of being in service to ourselves? What does the energy of that intention look like? How is that coming across? What is motivating and inspiring us? And again, notice what we notice without judgment and adjust accordingly if need be. So, Turkey Spirit is wanting to move us through these exercises. Um, Turkey Spirit is wanting to move us through these exercises so that we can just get some clarity on Turkey Spirit's intention of these messages. Um, so there's something here about recognizing that when it's been clear to us, like when we're getting clarity on our path and purpose, and we know and we have an understanding that what feels aligned for us is to be in service, and it is to give, and it is to be compassionate, and it is to help others, to help uplift others. Um, Sometimes we can get so caught up in that intention that we really, really have a start to have a very, um, whether consciously aware of it or not, we tend to start to have a very focused projection on what the outcome of that should look like or is going to look like. And so, Turkey Spirit wants us to move through this exercise to see if we can recognize where we start to build those seeds of attachment to the outcome so that we can then let go of those seeds of attachment. Um, because when we become attached to the outcome of our intentions, then we actually start to limit possibilities and we project onto the recipient and even ourselves as that recipient. We project onto the recipient um, our conditions on the outcome that we want to see. And so if we're not seeing the outcome that we want to see, then we start shifting and editing and adjusting according to the outcome we want to see rather than being from the inspired seed of why we have come to alignment to know that being of service and giving is what we want to be about. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the way that we're being of service or what it is that we're giving needs to be something completely different. Turkey Spirit just wants us to examine, you know, the potential of the projected energy associated with how we are um, releasing that gift and being of service to others. So, giving with gratitude and grace. Giving with gratitude and grace in this context of this message means giving without judgment, giving without projection of outcome, um, giving with the knowing that the recipient may receive and never be part of your interaction again, and that is okay. Um, giving without, giving from that place of gratitude that you have the opportunity to give, grace that you are allowing for whatever needs to unfold for the recipient to unfold, giving grace to the movement and ebb and flow of what is aligned for that recipient. And there's a part of this reflection on the self that's coming through. Just a moment here. Being detached from the outcomes of how we also give with gratitude and grace to ourselves. As we recognize, as we reflect, as we observe and reflect and recognize how the energy of our giving is coming across, even to ourselves. Okay, so here Turkey Spirit is suggesting that when we do that reflective exercise with ourselves, it can also help provide some insight into how another might be receiving our giving. And so sometimes when we care a lot, when we are compassionate, when we're driven and motivated and inspired, sometimes that energy can feel a little bit overwhelming for a recipient who is moving through a different sort of set of experiences and just may have a different vantage point of what that energy looks like and feels like. And so being able to genuinely, sincerely, objectively, without judgment, take a look at what our energy looks like when we're compassionately being of service. It's important to recognize that some of the nuanced ways that our energy is projecting can have an impact on the recipient and can be a little much. So we want to make sure that we are taking into consideration the whole envelope, the whole circumstance and situation, that it's a give and take. And think about when you've been on the receiving end of someone who has the most of genuine intentions, but the way that the energy is being projected, or you just might feel like you just need a little bit of space to contemplate or reflect or think about it. We need to honor that with each other. We need to honor that with each other. So as a recipient of someone who's giving with gratitude and grace, I need to feel empowered to be able to say whatever it is I need to say about it. Thank you so much, or thank you so much, but not right now, or thank you so much, I need to think about this, I need to sit with this. And as the person who is giving with gratitude and grace, we need to be open to receiving that exchange, to be able to say, okay, thank you for letting me know, and I will step back and let you sit with whatever it is you need to sit with and detach from the outcome. It doesn't, oh, here's another seed of the message coming through. Thank you, Turkey Spirit. So part of being detached from outcomes. So sometimes when we're compassionate and we want to give and we want people to receive what we want to give, we attach value to ourselves relative to whether or not the recipient accepts that gift, accepts that service that we're offering. And if it's not accepted, then because we've been attached to the outcome and we want them to accept what we're giving, when we get tied up in that and we are attached to the outcome of that, if somebody doesn't receive what we want to give, then suddenly we feel invalidated in a certain way. Or this can happen sometimes when you're detached to an outcome. It's like, okay, maybe I didn't present it right, or maybe I didn't say it in the right way, or maybe I need to adjust it in this way or that way so that then they'll want to accept it. And then it becomes more about getting the recipient to the point of accepting rather than just being in that neutral place of giving, for the sake of giving. Again, giving from that space of gratitude and grace. And so that's a part of what Turkey Spirit wants us to examine within ourselves as well. Are we trying to convince our recipient that they should receive this gift because we're giving it and it's so wonderful? And when we come across their objection to receiving, are we are we attaching our self-worth and value to whether or not they receive with gratitude and grace as well? So, and the answer is our inherent value, being born of love and light, has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not a recipient, a potential recipient of our service or gifts receives or accepts an offer of a gift or service. It has nothing to do with our intrinsic divine value. Um, so when we are giving from that place of knowing that we already are valued in that way, the giving has nothing to do with being attached to the outcome of whether the recipient accepts that service or gift or not. So giving with gratitude and grace in these messages now, carrying over from before, from the last time Turkey Spirit joined us, it is about detaching to outcomes of the gift and the service that we are aligned to give. And it doesn't mean that suddenly we need to totally restructure what is aligned with us. Not everyone is going to welcome with open arms and take in everything that we are giving and the services that we are providing that are aligned with us. I think of that saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. Something like that is coming through with this message. Also the sayings of like, when someone's ready to hear something, they're going to hear it and they're going to digest it. When they're not, they're just not. And that does not have anything to do with whether or not what you are sharing is aligned or not. If you know without a shadow of a doubt that what you're doing, what you're believing in yourself to be about, how you're sharing, how you're providing your gifts to the world, if you're aligned with that, then keep moving in that direction, but don't attach to how you move and pivot through that alignment. Don't let whether or not someone is receiving be the decision maker in that for you. Okay? Um, you never know. You never know the impact that you have on someone, and sometimes it may be somewhere down the road where someone you've come across that didn't seem to be receptive to your gift or your sharing or your way of being in service. They didn't seem to be receptive to it, but perhaps, years from now, months from now, there's a self-realization of like, oh, I remember when, Gia was talking about turkeys and giving with gratitude and grace. I didn't really quite understand what it meant then, but now that these other circumstances have happened and other experiences have happened, I think I have a deeper understanding of that. And I still may never know who that person is, but you never know the impact that you may have. So keep giving with gratitude and grace. Keep doing the things that you know are going to help you stay aligned with your true path and purpose. And when this is coming from that heart-centered place, that place of knowing your unique expression of the divine collective consciousness, when it's coming from that heart-centered place, that expansive place, then it is exactly what it needs to be, regardless of how a potential recipient may be receiving or not at the time. So everything happens for a reason, everything in divine timing. Um, yeah, so that's the message from Turkey Spirit. Giving with gratitude and grace, and reflecting on how the energy of your intention is coming across to your prospective recipient, and then also reflecting on that as giving with gratitude and grace to yourself as well. All right, so let's see how long Turkey Spirit wants to spend with us this time around. So as I was preparing for this new card, I did get the impression from Squirrel and Starfish that they generally are rounding out their desire to be invited in this part of our journey with us. But Squirrel Spirit, Squirrel Spirit is a feisty little one. Squirrel Spirit still is like hanging out in the bleachers, like, hey, when you're ready to call me in the game, I'm right here again. And remember, Squirrel Spirit is believing in yourself. Squirrel Spirit is such a cheerleader right now for us, to make sure that we don't forget how important it is to reflect on that, believing in ourselves, believing in ourselves. And some of the messages that I'll just go into my reflections now. So with Starfish having us be in the state of being open to infinite possibility, and Squirrel Spirit believing in that, and believing in ourselves around that. I talked a lot about how input in our external lives can have an impact on our subconscious and on our psyche. And I gave the example of me, really recognizing how the repetitive nature of a lot of the news networks is really something that I choose not to have in my external environment, because of how it impacts my consciousness, my subconscious, my conscious, and my psyche. And so there was something in the reflection I wanted to share about, being open to infinite possibility, recognizing that the the universe is abundant in nature. There's something about not being in denial around things that are occurring and things that are happening. It's not about denying or discounting or invalidating, right? It's about recognizing the energetics of the current situation and how it is impacting me. And so this is my reflections. These are my personal reflections. And so recognizing that I can do that, I can recognize an occurrence of something and still hold a belief in the possibility, in the possibilities, in the infinite possibilities, in the infinite abundance of the universe. And one of the things that has a positive impact on that belief in me is that in the present moment now, which is really quite literally all we have, is the now moment, the now moment, the now moment. Time for time is a human construct in the spirit world, in metaphysics. There is no time or space. So everything is now. You know, the things that I reflect on that I might associate it with pain or discomfort or sadness or joy, um, they are not happening necessarily in this present moment. I recognize that those experiences that have happened contribute to how I'm able to move through how I feel in any given moment. And even just explaining it is challenging because it's a concept that goes beyond like the human mind. So there's this understanding and knowing that like experiences that I've had have definitely led to how I feel in this present moment. They've led to how I believe in the things that I believe in, to come to these different awarenesses that I choose to hold belief in, and that I am trusting source of information as being truths. And so when I recognize a situation or circumstance just for what it is, what it was, and I recognize that when I'm thinking and planning about for things, it's not something that's happened yet, it allows for me to really detach from the emotions of the past experience and the potential outcomes of the future experience that I'm planning for. And that, in and of itself, that ability to be neutral and detach, helps with that objectivity to be currently moving through my now moment, being present, just being present in this now moment. And so that to me is how starfish and squirrel helped me to like reshape some reflections and frames of mind, help to solidify and affirm that, and that it's possible to do that. It's possible to be here now and recognize that, you know, I can have an awareness of an experience that I had that may very well have been extremely traumatic, but that experience is not happening now. And my belief and my choice to hold that awareness and believe in that truth allows me to recognize that, yes, that experience did happen, but it's not happening now. And so, therefore, it's easier to release the charged emotion and all the associated energetics around that to come to neutrality about it. And it doesn't negate, um, it doesn't discount that circumstance. It just allows me to be neutral about it, to be present here in the now moment, and not to be influenced by how that experience may have made me feel. You know, I can let go of the conditioning around, well, that happened to me and I felt small, or I felt powerless, and, you know, um, and when something similar happens to me, it reminds me of that circumstance. But knowing that it is not happening now allows me to say, yeah, that's how I felt, but this is not my truth now, and choose to do what I need to do to move through the remembrance that I am not that experience. I am the awareness of that experience, because it's not happening right now. Okay, so yeah, turkey spirit. How long would you like to spend? All right, turkey spirit's answering that pretty quickly. Turkey spirit, wants to be invited to spend the next 7 days with us. And on Thursday, Thursday, Wednesday. On Wednesday, Turkey Spirit wants to invite a companion. So we will invite a companion for Turkey Spirit on Wednesday this coming week and spend the next 7 days with Turkey Spirit, reminding us to give with gratitude and grace and be mindful of how our intentions for our giving may be received by our potential recipients of our gifts and our ways that we are being of service. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Until next time.